Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to the farm. You can see it just rolled over from midnight into February. Again, not the real time, but not in a window I can sync. So if I want to do anything, I'm kind of doing it here. That's right, I still have grass that I need to pick up and put in the silo, so I'll do that as well. Because at this point I'm sure we've moved along, but the barn's getting a little bit low. So I really need straw. That's the biggest need, but I need some hay as well. So I'm gonna get a load of hay here, and then I'll get a couple loads of straw because I'm down to like 11,000 liters there. So that is definitely starting to skim the bottom of the barrel. But I don't recall if I was on yesterday or not. It's hard to kind of keep track about, yeah, it was, or was it 2 days ago? I mean, I know it was recently, obviously, but alright, but the straw pile is much smaller. Obviously the silage pile's getting down there, but silage just stores a lot more. So silage might become one of those that during one of the days where I'm doing something else, I just pop in and run, 5 or 6 over, and that will keep me in good stead for quite some time. I know my dairy has filled up again, so I have an opportunity to move 11,000 liters of cheese again, so I probably want to do that. But to start, obviously, I'm always a little bit anxious. I get in and am I going to see the barn down, or did I miss a sequence or not? So you can see we got 1.4 million of hay, 1.9 of straw. So the straw's doing really, really well, but once again, the straw consumes much, much slower. And so, that's kind of to give you a view. Just keep in mind, like when I collected the hay, which doesn't seem like that long ago. I mean, it was a while ago, because once again, this last collection where that forage wagon is sitting over by the fermenting silo was for grass, to get silage in, and that happened. Basically, I had done grass, hay, grass. So I had switched back to grass, so it's a couple times ago, so I think it was more in the summer, like July or August, so we're probably more than 6 or 7 months later, but we've used over 300,000 liters of hay already. So just kind of keeping an eye on how that works. So I am coming up on another time where I will be away for perhaps a couple days to not touch the game or really anything. I'll be gone once again, out of town. But not as long as when we took an actual vacation back in March and, going into the first couple days of April. So it shouldn't be too bad. It's just it falls on a weekend. So we've got Memorial Day weekend coming up here in the States, which is a holiday. It turns into a 3-day weekend with the Monday being off. So we're taking that opportunity to do something, and obviously then that means I'm not here on days where I really should have much less conflict if I have to do something with regards to real life and so forth. So I could run into a problem, but I don't think so. What I haven't done, normally I look at the calendar and kind of figure out with the game tracker that I have of what day it is. I adjust accordingly, or make decisions, but I do need to do I do need to decide, it's easy for me to say, if somehow that would impact my desire to plant anything. I can't imagine it would, because as I said, it's a 2-day window, and even the smallest harvest window is 3 days. So I should have at least one day that I can get in and do something, because I mean there's a possibility, like, even though it's one of the days or gone, I could maybe do something just before we leave, or something when we get back, and have it be a late night, you know, whatever it turns out to be. So alright, let's look here, see if I can make it a little quieter. Not really. Yeah, silage is 131. Mineral feed's still good. Alright, everything's basically at 130. Well, except for hay. Do I wanna... Why is it really full? Come on. That can't be right. That isn't right. Why did it not do it? I think that's just some sort of a botch, I think. I don't think there's actually straw there. I think it just didn't zero out. So what I'm trying to figure out, because you can do 147,000, so I can do some hay, just do a little bit less of it. So, because I know I can do under 50,000, so I'll get close to that, and then at least I'll be pretty close to maxed out on the things, and that will help in general not have a problem. And then what I'll do is I'm going to jump over and we'll pick up the rest of that grass, and we'll take a look at our silage situation at that point and see what's what. Alright, I'm just going to go with that, because I'm comfortable that I can dump that, and then I'm not playing the game of, oh, I've got a little bit here, I've got a little bit there. But I don't need to do the silage right now. Once again, it becomes one of those, like, if I have some spare time, you know, maybe I'll come and do that work. No, it's not interesting. I'm not seeing lag time. It's just one of those other things that happens sometime where it's just, whoops. It's hay. I had silage in my head. So, there we go. So that'll get us nice and full, like, you know, even a little past the straw, because the straw's only like 131 or whatever it is. So in theory there's like another 15,000 we could throw in there, but now you see we are empty. So we'll do our normal pull away and let it sit. Alright, so here we are. Since I've not been on, it does tend to disconnect things, but I should have 21,000 that I can easily put in here. I guarantee you it's processed at least that much. And then it's just now a matter of finding the grass that is out there to figure out what I still need to pick up, because I think it's like I had before. You can see I've got 2 rows that stick out over there. There we go. No, yes, alright. That's right. I didn't quite have the full 2 left. So let me turn this on. Start doing my line, because it's still better. And then there we go. I was driving it almost perfectly. Look at that. Didn't have to move the line at all. But I'm thinking we're going to get 50,000 and a little bit more off the field. But once again, we could run into a situation where just sitting here for several days, I'm sure we've had some precipitation that's come down, even though I haven't seen as pronounced an impact of that in Farming Simulator 22, as I recall from Farming Simulator 19. Doesn't mean it's not there, but you know, and I don't know that I know exactly kind of what my output was here off the field. I'm gonna move this a bit though, so otherwise I'm worried I'm gonna leave some stuff sitting around. But that should be pretty clean, and we'll see where we end up. And again, we're not feeding the BGA right now, other than potentially some slurry. It's probably run out of that as well. So yeah, you can see we have not had a positive biogas since, yeah, so it ran out sometime yesterday. So I should throw another load of slurry in, because I certainly have plenty. So I'll do that as well while I'm here, because at a minimum I want to at least give attention to things that really are screaming for attention, and certainly a BGA that is going to cost me money just sitting there, or at least a farm operation that costs me money to water the cows, for example, and things like that. It would be good to have other income coming in. So here we go. We're going to be just short. We're really not going to have a whole lot left here. You know, if we get another 5,000, I'll be impressed. But I don't think we even have that much. So a lot of activity here, certainly, about this field with the grass, which is partially why at one point, if you recall, kind of way back at this point, before I could get 24, there was a bit of discussion of, well, you know, break out a piece of field 25 and plant crop on it so you can get straw and so forth. And I kind of fought, well, I didn't kind of, I fought that desire, because I'm like, you know, I just want to keep it clean. I don't want to be like, oh, when I'm replanting or whatever, that I'm being careful and not running into things. So I just didn't want to do that, and you know, I'm using at least 2/3 of the field, if not more than that, you know, pretty regularly now. I mean, we did, it's almost the same thing we're doing in generational farming. I did 3 grass harvests on this field this year, so it's kind of crazy. Well, I guess maybe a little bit more than a year, because I think I might have done the first grass thing in winter and then waited until later to do the hay. So there's definitely enough of a need there. Alright, let's see what it takes, or what we get off the field to finish this up. Oh, I'm going to be shown to be a liar. Look at that. We're going to blow right by 5. We're not going to hit 10, I don't think. Make me a liar on that, I'll be happy. It's more product. Oh, look at that. Not by much, though. Just 524. I thought I did see a little bit laying out there, and you may not have caught it. It was 521, and then suddenly we got 3 more liters when it picked up that tiny little bit that I thought I saw there in the midnight glow. So, you know, and I will say, the strange thing here is, I was talking about, I think just last episode, about how I think the lighting is darker. And it was absolutely darker. And now suddenly I can see, and maybe it's just the truck lighting is terrible. I don't know, but just around me in general, like I can clearly see across the map and do whatever. So I think it just depends what, you know, time of day and what time of year it is as well. Alright, so we've got that in. I know we were full as far as processing, so, you know, we're kind of almost as much as we can get. Basically a full silo waiting to be processed, which is exactly what I want. But, you know, this does verify exactly what I figured. There's not really a reason not to leave this out here right now, because when I plant, I'm going to plant using the quad track. Now, let me disconnect this. We'll disconnect there. We'll pull around the building. We'll grab our tanker. I guess the one thing I hadn't looked at. Alright, we're at 374 on the milk. And then on the dairy, see, we're still running at like 80,000 different. So while I did get pulled down to like 237,000 at one point when I went down to 250, like I haven't added 120,000 liters of milk back into the dairy. So it takes a fraction of what they're producing or something and makes it available. So it's intriguing, but I don't know that it's easily discernible to run any kind of experiment and figure out what it actually is doing. I mean, you know, it's darker with the truck, but yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as when I was running stuff the other night, and I felt I couldn't even see the barn as I was going, or the hayloft as I was going up to the hill. I'd love to have something that I could call a barn, but I don't have a yard yet. Still no word on when that might change, when we might be able to do something with land. We did get an announcement of what they're doing next. They're still moving people around. They're still reconfiguring Discord channels, so forth and so on. But the thing that we need, land purchase, nothing. So that's that. So I'm going to run this over, and that, I think, will be the work for now. That's all I can come up with that makes sense. I'm just not feeling moving the cheese, I'll be honest. And it's not like I've ever really done that with the view of, oh, I got to stay on top of that every second. Just moving one load a year will more than pay for my permit and so forth, so I'm okay there. Speaking of, I am going to have to check and make sure I'm current on my permits. It's been a bit, but usually I buy 4 or 5 of them sequentially. You know, they stack on each other basically every 12 days, 14 days, I don't even remember how it works, but you know, I get a few of them so that I don't have to think about it as often. So I know I'm into next month with them. I just don't remember if it's in the first couple days again, and it should be fine because it's not as if I'm spanning time and missing something there. So I should be all right. All right. So now at least we'll have the BGA. More importantly, what that will give me is when I can get back in here later to sync, because at this point it'll be about 3 hours that I move it as far as calculations of anything, because when I signed on it really should have been about 4 a.m. so I suppose it could almost be 4. But you know, the nice thing is then I can get that production and that income coming in from the BGA based on those 3 or 4 hours that I sync forward. So that's always kind of the thing that, well, let me turn this. I can't disconnect, although I guess I could have turned the engine off. Whoops. Things are not working as they planned. Alright, there we go. So we're disconnected. Ooh, there's a view. So that's that. Early February morning, but it's a little bit closer to sunrise than this. Like I said, about 4 hours is what it should really be moved. So I'll try to remember to pop in later so that if the other FM comes in and is doing some work, we're good to go. But our biggest thing is going to be, once we hit tomorrow, we've got options for planting and so forth. And more than likely we'll do something, I don't know, maybe canola this time. I have no idea. I'm just doing it for variety. Like, I don't have any specific thing. So this is exactly why I like something like the VIP Order Manager that gives me a target. Otherwise, this is kind of how Farming Simulator is. It's just, what am I in the mood for today? And the one thing I am missing at this point is the crop variations we had of the different crops that were introduced into FS19, where we would have poppy and hops and coffee and stuff like that. You know, and some maps have additional things, like you can do alfalfa and something. God, it's I cannot say it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Is it spelt? I think it's something with an S that used to be kind of common and so forth. But anyway, I'm going to just babble on for another 10 minutes if I'm not careful. So we've shared enough. Oh, maybe that's why it's really bright. Maybe, does the game really keep track of like phases of the moon? I don't think it does, but if we got a full moon, maybe that's why it's bright, where other times it hasn't been that. But anyway, I will see you next time.